A world where everyone owning a smartphone can purport to give information out to the public has led journalism a dead end. For instance, the emergence of alternative media and social sites like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and others has affected the traditional way of journalism, with many critics arguing the profession is under threat while revenue streams are dying. In Uganda, most media houses are struggling, journalists losing their jobs. These problems worsened by a rise in misinformation and disinformation. On top of this is government crackdown on unfavorable reporting, creating more pressure on the industry. In the early 1990s, the traditional way of disseminating information was based on quality, informative, and impactful way of reporting, but the advent of social media technologies has created gaps in the generation and sharing of news content. Abbas Mpindi, one of the young media entrepreneurs and CEO Media Challenge Initiative, has played a very vital role in shaping the next young journalists by providing spaces for tackling some of the challenges facing the industry. In his address at the MCI Alumni Convention held under the theme Beyond Journalism that took place on Sunday in Kampala, Mpindi said his mission was to let journalists reconnect and revisit each other through learning.
Good. So you as a journalist, you're threatened in one way or another because AI wants to replace you or has already replaced some of you, or even me. And that there's a whole lot of misinformation and disinformation around the world, which you have the responsibility to fight. So people like debunk, that's where your job is becoming very critical. And in that case, journalists are being abused by repressive regimes. So if you want to know, please do a quick study on how many journalists are arrested every year and how many journalists are killed every year. And at the end of it all, democracy is at stake. So this is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring all of you together. But the most important thing, Bukenya, next, is that we understand, besides those problems facing the industry, there are also, plus other pressures in life, you have more pressure coming your way as young journalists. So I wanted to create a space where we can retreat and reset. So
he encouraged journalists to always reflect on their roles by being responsible leaders.
To the people and to the planet. So what stories are you doing and what do they mean for on fixing the triple planetary crisis? And as we go into World Press Freedom Day, which this year is hugely focusing on the environment crisis, it's good for us to think, because you can just do stories per story to get done every day. Or you could just work in a communication position every day you show up. You do campaigns, but there's no intention to think, to pause and think about what's out there. So this is why the theme is important, our responsibility to the world. Next slide. Now, for those who have been in the fellowship, even in the academy, there's a session we do here around goal setting, and we ask each person to think about the vision of the world. What world do you want to create? So this idea of me, journalism, and the world, or me, media, and the world, traces back to your calling of why you decided to invest in journalism.
In this world of survival, journalists are told to be mindful of their health and well-being before appearing to the public.
The things that they're dealing with on a daily basis. Some people were not parented well. Okay? It is so important for us to be able to hold space. But this came from a question of me asking you, what stress means to you. And I was trying to make you understand why professions like mine came into the health field. Okay? Stress is a very normal human experience. It happens to every one of us. Now, for Ali Man, what stress really means is that your brain detects a threat, and then the brain puts you into fight and flight mode so that you can fight the threat or flight, run away from the threat. They've now added freeze, so now it's fight, freeze, or flight, right? So what does that literally mean? So Ali Man, his main threat was dying while he was hunting, yeah? Like he has to go and hunt for his family, the woman is foraging, the man goes to hunt. The brain is saying you might die. So it puts him in fight and flight. What that means is that the brain picks resources from your higher brain centers, from your digestive system, from your immune system, from your muscular system, and puts those resources in your heart rate and in your muscles.
This 4-day gathering was the first for the MCI alumni community to reconnect. Journalists were trained in public service delivery with a fusion of games and sports. Media Challenge Initiative conducts several initiatives like the Debunk Media Initiative, Media Fellowships, a Media Academy, and podcast programs with support from DW Academia, CAS Uganda, UNESCO, among others. Nagoja Serena, NSTV.